I'm going to do a little bit different of a show tonight. Good evening, Patriots. Tonight is it's a tough night. I'm going to do my best to try to get through this. Charlie Kirk, who's a prominent, famous political podcaster, head of Turning Point USA, built an entire conservative movement from scratch. As a young boy, clearly highly intelligent, very peaceful with his conversations, debated people, was murdered today while he was out doing what he was doing. 31 years old, father, 2 kids. He had a wife, Erica. He's dead. I got the alert. We get certain news alerts here, me and the team, and I got an alert that he had been shot. And I had reached out to somebody to verify it, and then it was verified. I could not go live. I was not in a position to go live. I reached out to Matthew Spear at the Don't Unfriend Me show, and I told him what was going on, but I'm sure he had already known, and he went live. Our country is in a crisis, and this is not hyperbole. This is not hyperbolic. This is not BS. I apologize. Like I said, I wasn't in a position to go live, but here I am. I'm at a hotel room because I happen to be out of town this week. But what happened to Charlie Kirk is an absolute disaster. And it's something that didn't have to happen. It's something that we've been warning about on this show for years. We've been talking about the left and how the left is increasingly becoming more violent, and that's a symptom of leftist ideology. They try to justify their violence, and in the end, they will always result to absolute violence. I mean, that's it. They'll start by trying to shut you down, stop you from speaking, violate your free speech. They'll try to use everything and everything. They'll even try to put you in jail unjustly. Which we saw them try to do to Donald Trump. We saw them do it with the January 6thers. Yes, I've been very clear. Some of them were completely out of line and should be in jail, but the majority of ones that were prisoned should not have been. Donald Trump just came out. He just released this like 10 minutes ago. You probably have not seen it. Let's watch what he had to say.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense.
And that's all Charlie Kirk ever did, was try to talk about mainstream issues. And he was a staunch conservative. He was very religious. He didn't threaten to hurt anybody. He wasn't a danger to society. But that's what you get when the radical left wants to call people on the right falsely Nazis, or tell them they're a threat to democracy, or that they're literally Hitler. If you are a little bit unstable and you believe that Hitler is coming to put everybody in chains and make everybody slaves again, you might take some actions. It's that type of rhetoric that led to this. And I don't want to hear the BS about, oh, we don't know what happened, or we don't know the whole story. I'm over it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the Democratic Party. I'm sick of the left. They're extreme. They are violent. And I hope the Trump administration takes steps to make sure they never have power ever again. And they shouldn't have power ever again.
On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country.
Talking about the organizations that George Soros funded, we talked about the RICO case against George Soros that's being done and coming. And I guarantee you the things that are going to come out of the Trump administration now are going to be unsurpassed.
The attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others. Radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory. May God watch over his family. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Trump himself was almost killed twice. Almost killed twice because the left is nuts. I mean, that's what it is. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that that's not what it is. I have a video here we're going to watch where a city official in Utah even came out and said this is 100% politically motivated.
Yeah.
So thank you.
That is so very true, and you can see this is a live picture and potentially any moment now. I think they're about to give a mic check real briefly. So, Mike, thank you so much for your time here on Live Now from Fox. I appreciate your time. I'm glad, obviously, your family is safe.
Special Agent in Charge, Robert Bowles. We'll then hear from Utah Valley University Vice President Val Peterson, who's been in touch with President Jimenez. And then we'll hear from Governor Cox. I'll turn the time over to Commissioner Mason.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bo Mason, Commissioner for the Utah Department of Public Safety. Today, at approximately 12:20 Mountain Standard Time, political influencer Charlie Kirk was shot at an event at the Utah Valley University. He was taken by private vehicle to Timpanogos Hospital, where he later passed. The Utah Department of Public Safety will be co-leading this criminal investigation to find this killer, along with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We are working in unison with the County Sheriff's Office, the local police department, and the University Police Department, all of which have been very cooperative and fully engaged in this process. Shortly after the shooting, we did have a suspect in custody, George Zinn, but he was released from custody after we identified that he did not match the shooting suspect and was not an accurate person of interest. However, he has been booked into the county jail by Utah Valley University Police Department for obstruction of justice. We do still have an active investigation for the person of interest. This incident occurred with a large crowd around. There was one shot fired and one victim. While the suspect is at large, we believe this was a targeted attack towards one individual. This is a tragic moment in our state and in our country. As we hail, we encourage everyone who is struggling with news of the incident to call 988, our state mental health crisis line. In addition to that, our partners with the FBI will also be discussing other ways we can communicate through the public for tips and other information. Thank you.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the FBI, we extend our sincerest condolences to the family and friends of Charlie Kirk. Our thoughts are also with the people who witnessed this traumatic event. We know that what you experienced was very difficult. Our thoughts are with you as well. As soon as we heard about the shooting, special agents and personnel from the Salt Lake Field Office responded immediately. We have full resources devoted to this investigation, including tactical, operational, investigative, and intelligence. To be clear, the FBI will fully support and co-lead this investigation alongside with our partners.
Well, the FBI is on the warpath. Don't think they're not on the warpath. Don't think Dan Bongino and Cash Patel aren't throwing things across an office and going after everybody to tear down the entire radical left party, which is what they should be doing, which is what needs to be done.
We are working on setting up a digital media tip line, and as soon as it's established, we'll get that information out to everyone. I know there's a lot of questions. This is very much an active case, and this investigation is in its early stages. We are following all the leads and all the evidence. If anyone has any information, please report it to the FBI or local law enforcement. Thank you.
On behalf of President Jimenez, who we've been communicating with, and she's on her way back right now, I say that on behalf of Utah Valley University, we are shocked and saddened by the tragic passing of Charlie Kirk. We express our sincere condolences to the Kirk family. We grieve with our students, faculty, and staff who bore witness to this unspeakable tragedy. He was invited by the student group Turning Point USA to speak on our campus. We firmly believe that UVU is a place to share ideas and to debate openly and respectfully. Any attempt to infringe on those rights has no place here. We do not condone any form of violence at UVU and seek to make our campus a
Of course not. We all know this.
safe place for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this dark and tragic occasion. I want to thank our law enforcement officers who are leading this investigation, starting with Chief Long and his response here with the UVU Police Department. We're grateful for your leadership and your team. And again, to the speakers that you've just heard from who are co-leading this investigation. I also want to recognize Sheriff Mike Smith, who has been an invaluable partner as this investigation moves forward. I've been in touch with President Trump, with FBI Director Kash Patel. We are completely aligned with our state and federal partners as we work through this case. Now, this is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation. And I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination.
Boom. Boom. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is because of all of the rhetoric the left has been spewing for years. And the right always takes the higher ground. The right always is the bigger person. The right always takes it on the other cheek and turns the other cheek. I think we're going to see a major turning point in conservative philosophy and conservative actions moving forward.
We are celebrating 250 years of the founding of this great nation. That founding document, the Declaration of Independence, that this great experiment on which we embarked together 250 years ago, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. The first one of those is life. And today, a life was taken. Charlie Kirk was first and foremost a husband and a dad to 2 young children. He was also very much politically involved, and that's why he was here on campus. Charlie believed in the power of free speech and debate to shape ideas and to persuade people. Historically, our university campuses in this nation and here in the state of Utah have been the place where truth and ideas are formulated and debated. And that's what he does. He comes on college campuses and he debates. That is foundational to the formation of our country, to our most basic constitutional rights. And when someone takes the life of a person because of their ideas or their ideals, then that very constitutional foundation is threatened. Now, we have a person of interest in custody. The investigation is ongoing. But I want to make it crystal clear right now, to whoever did this, we will find you. We will try you. And we will hold you accountable to the furthest extent of the law. And I just want to remind people that we still have the death penalty here in the state of Utah.
Hell yeah. We need to bring back public executions.
Our nation is broken. We've had political assassinations recently in Minnesota. We had an attempted assassination on the governor of Pennsylvania. And we had an attempted assassination on a presidential candidate and former president of the United States, and now current president of the United States. Nothing I say can unite us as a country. Nothing I can say right now can fix what is broken. Nothing I can say can bring back Charlie Kirk. Our hearts are broken. We mourn with his wife, his children, his family, his friends. We mourn as a nation. If anyone in the sound of my voice celebrated even a little bit at the news of this shooting, I would beg you to look in the mirror and to see if you can find a better angel in there somewhere. I don't care what his politics are. I care that he was an American. We desperately need our country. We desperately need leaders in our country. But more than the leaders, we just need every single person in this country to think about where we are and where we want to be. To ask ourselves, is this it? Is this what 250 years has wrought on us? I pray that that's not the case. I pray that those who hated what Charlie Kirk stood for will put down their social media and their pens and pray for his family, and that all of us will try to find a way to stop hating our fellow Americans. With that, we're happy to take a few questions.
The FBI director.
It's not all of us, though. This is not a bipartisan issue. This is an issue of the left. This is an issue of the left perpetrating violence against people whose political ideologies they do not like. Because you disagree with them, they want you dead. I deal with it every single day on this show. I have comments from people sending me pictures of my house telling me they're going to kill me. Every single day. Because I just disagree. Because I have a right to disagree. I have a right to express my opinion with a microphone. Because I am born a human being in the United States of America. That right comes from God and nobody else. Nobody on this earth can take that away from me or you. You have a right to speak your mind clearly. The federal government, persuaded by the Democrats, do not want you to have that right. That's why conservative voices were silenced. That's why conservative voices were jailed for speaking, calling it hate speech. What the hell is hate speech? How the hell are words actually violent? But that's the rhetoric that they spew. And because they spew that rhetoric, good, wholesome Americans like Charlie Kirk are subject to the violence of the left. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat this and put the damn the shoe on the other foot and play devil advocate bullshit. Bullshit. The Democratic Party is responsible for this 100% of the time. And I hope that the Trump administration does everything in their power to make sure the Democratic Party cease to exist. I want to see congressional redistricting. I want to see every Democrat seat in Congress lose it, because you should not be associated with a party that does crap like this.
Just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look, as his character is stabbed to death.
There it is, right here,
Where
folks.
is John Wilkes?
Here it is, live on the air. Look at the comment on your screen. Look at the comment on your screen from Taylor. Words are fucking violent, and he spew it, so there he is gone. Trump needs to be in prison. Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm so sick of this bullshit. Every day of my life, you whiny little friggin' children come on my podcast. Words are violent. Shut up. Shut up. Grow a pair of fucking balls. How's that sound? Fuck out of here.
Booth when you need him.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
That about sums it up. Now, any of these friggin' liberal trolls in the comments here, take a second and try to find a compilation of Republicans doing that. Go ahead, look for it, produce it, because it doesn't exist. You'll have a couple of offshoots here and there, or shit you turn around and try to make it sound like it's something violent when it isn't. But get out of here. R.C. Phillips, thanks for the comment. It's not gun violence, it's modern Marxist Democrat violence. They have been calling for this for years, starting with Obama. Yes. It's the ideology of liberalism that is dangerous. It is a dangerous ideology. They have zero regard for life. They use people as political pawns. And at the end of all of it, they literally want you dead. That's the Democrat philosophy. They don't care. They have no respect. Here's a clip of Congress today. Congress opening up for session. Speaker Johnson wants to do a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk because he was just murdered.
What purpose did the gentlelady from Colorado rise? Let's wait a minute. The House will be in order. The House will be in order.
Can't even have a moment of silence.
The House will be in order. The House will be in order. We will join prayer right after this, okay?
They're trying to have a moment of silence for somebody who was just murdered by a gunman. The Democratic Party will not have any of that because that person didn't align with their views. You're either one of them or you should be dead. That's how the Democrat Party thinks. There is zero tolerance on the far left. The Republicans are the ones who tolerate, to the point where the Republican Party is losing their patience. So as of now, it does not appear, and I could be wrong. If anybody knows, let me know. The suspect's name is still being withheld. There was originally a suspect that was found and placed in custody. Turns out that was an innocent person that had just been there. Completely wrong. Should not have been arrested. But he was a suspicious person. They arrested him, and then they let him go. I have video, let me get it, of another arrest. What may be a suspect. Now, we do not know, okay? I'll explain to you, as a former police officer, kind of how these situations go. You're in the area. You're looking for a suspect. So what you're doing is you're basically stopping everybody, right? You're running around. You're looking for suspicious people. You're stopping them. This could be one of those situations. This guy was just walking around. He had a bag. The officer stopped him, and then maybe they found drugs on him or something. Doesn't mean that he's a suspect. We just do not know. Let's watch this clip.
I think they just found the guy right outside of Carry On. Rifle on this dude's dash, and they just handcuffed him.
We don't know. Obviously, outside of just a shooting incident, there's a tremendous police presence. So there was minimal police there. The chief of police came out and said that he had failed, essentially, to keep Charlie safe. He sort of apologized to his wife and family, which I thought was nice, at least admitting that that he was wrong. But let's do this. MSNBC came out and, of course, immediately, without fail, tried to blame this on one of his supporters without knowing anything first. Yeah, I know that I'm sitting here screaming into this friggin' microphone that it was the left that did it. And I'm doing that because the head of the investigation told us it was definitely a politically motivated assassination. So obviously I'm right. But this is MSNBC before that news conference, not knowing shit about what's going on.
In which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, I emphasize what you just emphasized. We don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea
What?
about.
A supporter shooting their gun off in celebration is what they have to say. Josh said he was a Christian with Christian fundamentals. He stood firmly in the Bible standard. He represented standing up for what was right, drawing the line in the sand. Yeah. And they killed him for it. They killed Charlie Kirk because they could not debate him. They killed Charlie Kirk because they couldn't stop him from speaking the truth that they don't want you to hear. They killed Charlie Kirk because they hate everything that he stands for. And they hate everything that you stand for. Now, I do have a video of the shooting, a close-up video, which I'm not going to play. When I first got that video, I knew immediately that he was dead, way before they even announced it. You can tell. If you look at that close-up video, I mean, the guy is gone. Immediately, it appears like he did not suffer, but he was no longer with us the second that happened. But this appears to be video of somebody on the roof. In a building 200 yards away from where Charlie Kirk was.
So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying? He just ran from Over, where's my finger? Whoa. From over there, ran in. And now he's right there. Just saying, just.
That's the crowd all ducking at once.
Getting right up.
Yeah. You think he'd already be employed?
Now, obviously, it's just terrible and it's horrible and it's something that just doesn't need to happen in this country. It's something that our founding fathers fought a war to make sure that we had rights to do these types of things so these things wouldn't happen. And here we are in 2025, unable to speak at conferences and unable to speak in at political rallies without fear of being killed. Without fear of being killed. Here is this is one of the last things he ever said in this world. Jesus defeated death so that you can live. One of the last things he'll ever say on this earth. You know, I'm usually not this loud and boisterous. I'm usually very calm, but I'm tired. I really am. I am very tired. I'm tired of living in a world where if you think you're right, then you get to, you know, there's people everywhere celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, all over Twitter. All over Twitter. We just had one person here on the show do it in the comments section, which is now blocked and banned. There's no remorse. There's no guilt. You think they separate themselves from the person that did this? No. No. Here's Charlie Kirk himself.
Core of a liberal is someone that would use the sword if they had it. They are very violent people at their core. They always have been. They can't debate. They can't have conversation. So they'll resort to these tactics. They're going to do everything they possibly can to try to murder this movement because they can't beat us. So they're going to try to take weapons. And no, we're very aware of that. I'm aware of it. We have to have full-time security. This is not a joke. This is who these people are. Core of a liberal.
Listen again.
Is someone that would use the sword if they had it. They are very violent people at their core. They always have been. They can't debate. They can't have conversation. So they'll resort to these tactics. They're going to do everything they possibly can to try to murder this movement because they can't beat us. So they're going to try to take weapons. And no, we're very aware of that. I'm aware of it. We have to have full-time security. This is not a joke. This is who these people are.
I mean, we know that. But what do we do about it? That's the next question. What are we supposed to do about this epidemic of political violence? Here's Nancy Mace, who just did an interview outside of Capitol Hill. Let's look at this.
I'm going to say this. Democrats own what happened today. I am devastated. My kids have called panicking. They probably, all the kids of every conservative in the country called panicking. Just because you speak your mind on an issue doesn't mean you get shot.
Then by that logic, do Republicans own the shooting of the two Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota?
Political,
isn't this on both sides?
Are you kidding me?
Oh, shut up.
We don't know what condition Charlie Kirk is in right now. Some raging leftist lunatic put a bullet through his neck, and you want to talk about Republicans right now? No.
No, I'm asking
not
you.
at all.
You said the Democrats have to own it too. But I'm asking
100% on Democrats.
But isn't there a problem with political violence across the spectrum?
No.
Yeah, we're talking about Charlie Kirk
absolutely
right now.
not.
That's the subject of this that we're talking about right now. Democrats own this 100%. And I'm going to say this.
I'll tell you what. Nobody took a shot at Joe Biden. Nobody took a shot at Kamala Harris. Nobody. But you know who they did take a shot at? Donald Trump. Same situation, about the same distance. I wonder if they were motivated to make sure it was done right this time. Here's Trump.
A little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
People killed in the crowd. Why? Why? I'll tell you why. Because these people firmly believe in their heart of hearts that Republicans and Democrats are a direct danger to the public. Because politicians have made society believe that, particularly the mentally unwell, which is robust in the Democratic Party. Here is Governor Pritzker, and he's talking about Charlie Kirk's death, and just listen to what he has to say.
My sympathy to Charlie Kirk's family and to Charlie Kirk, who obviously has, become a target for somebody. I don't know whether it's political violence because I don't know who did it. I know they seem to have somebody in custody. But I will say that political violence, unfortunately, has been ratcheting up in this country. We saw the shootings, the killings in Minnesota. We've seen other political violence occur in other states. And I would just say it's got to stop. And I think there are people who are fomenting it in this country. I think the president's rhetoric often foments it. We've seen the January 6th rioters who clearly, have tripped a new era of political violence.
You mean the January 6ers, the insurrection, the thousands of conservative Second Amendment gun-carrying maniacs who didn't bring any guns to the insurrection? They just left their fucking guns at home? Those guys? Gotcha. But it's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault, according to Pitzer, that a transgender lunatic decided to kill Catholic school children, because conservatives are just so well known for being trannies with guns, and they love to shoot school children, Catholic Christian people, because the right is just full of atheists everywhere. People with no formal moral guidelines. That's who's on the right, right? Right. But we got to figure out a way to never blame the left. The left is absolutely never to blame for anything. Here is Elizabeth Warren. And I want you to notice one thing about this interview.
This is just wrong. And my heart goes out to his family, to his friends. But
the fake, she's acting. This is acting. She hates this guy. She hates everything about him. And sure, I'm not saying she wants him dead. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying she doesn't really care. She's not very upset. She's not devastated. She's acting. And guess what's to blame?
We just cannot be a country that turns to violence when we disagree. We just can't.
What can Congress do about it, Senator?
Well, one thing Congress can do is gun safety.
Gun safety. Shut up.
And every time there's a killing, the Republicans say this is not the time to talk about gun safety.
That's not what we say.
And yet we have to. As a nation, we have more gun deaths than most other nations, and we don't keep our children, our friends, our neighbors safe by just putting ordinary gun safety rules in place. I just want to say this coming from Massachusetts. If the rest of the country would just follow the rules we follow in Massachusetts, we could reduce fatalities all over this country. And plenty of people who are hunters and who use guns for sport still have lots of activities in Massachusetts. But at least we make it a little tougher to use guns for harming other human beings.
What do you say to the people who are saying?
I don't understand. Guns are not for hunting. The reason the Second Amendment exists is to overthrow the government if it becomes tyrannical. So here she is, again, I'm going back to this video, that Republicans are saying to cool the temperature down. No. The Democrats cannot cool the temperature down. The Democrats cannot stop the rolling snowball they created with all of their evil lies and rhetoric and actions, saying that the right are literally Nazis. They're Nazis. What are you supposed to do with a Nazi? What's the end goal with a Nazi? Is it to be their friend? Is it to sit them down and have political discourse conversations? It's an inference at killing them. That's what you do to a Nazi. You're not friends with Nazis. Nazis are the enemy. You're saying that the Republicans are the enemy. You're not saying, like, hey, listen, they just have an opinion that's different than ours.
With the President of the United States, right? And every ugly meme he has posted and every ugly word. He is the leader of this nation. And I think that when he's posting things like he did just a couple of days ago, trying to show an entire city on fire and a reference to helicopters, in effect, throwing people out of helicopters and showing himself as some kind of big chest-beating threat, then I just don't want to hear this from the Republicans.
Do you think politicians on both sides have a role to play here, though, in trying to turn the rhetoric down?
I think what we have to say is, A, violence is not the answer, and we are willing to take steps so that violence in this country is not so lethal. Do we have a single Republican who will stand up and join us following the school shooting out in Denver?
Nobody's gonna jump on the bandwagon of banning guns. It's not going to do anything. There are more guns than people in this country. How the hell do you know what we should do? I have a wonderful idea. More people die from drug overdoses than guns in this country. Why don't we just make drugs illegal? And we'll just stop all the drug overdoses. I fixed it. Everybody, that's it. We'll just make the drugs illegal and we'll stop drug overdoses. That's an amazing idea. You know what else we should do? We should make rape illegal. And then you know what'll happen? People just won't be raped anymore. Hell, just make murder illegal. If you make murdering somebody illegal, obviously they're not going to get a gun and murder somebody. I mean, that's all you need to do, right? Just pass another law? Idiots, all of them.
I think people are already saying things they shouldn't be saying. Joe Walsh is a good example of that.
What did you know?
I mean, today, a 31-year-old father of two and a husband is dead. There's really nothing more to say than this is unacceptable and it's wrong. There's no both sidesing it.
Correct.
A man is dead. And so that's number one. I've heard J.B. Pritzker blame Donald Trump today. I don't understand. Our friend is dead, and we've got people out here who just can't stop grinding political axes. I think people are already saying things they shouldn't.
Oh, they're all over Twitter. They're all over Twitter. Saying that Charlie Kirk deserved to die. It's all over the place. We have positive ones, though. Here is Vivek Ramaswamy, a great American. Charlie Kirk was more committed to peaceful, open dialogue with those who disagreed with him than anyone I know. God blessed him with immense gifts, and he used them boldly and without fear. He knew the risks he was taking, but he did it anyway because he loved his kids and felt responsibility to the nation that they would inhabit. I traveled the entire country with him last year. I spent one-on-one time together in Ohio for 2 weeks. In Ohio 2 weeks ago. Spoke to him again 2 days ago. He's long warned of the rise of political violence and growing culture of assassination when few were willing to listen. With a clarity of vision unlike anyone I've known, completely and utterly devastated. Charlie Kirk, here's Vernon Jones. Charlie Kirk didn't deserve to be shot through the neck, whether you disagree with him or not. And I don't want to hear that this was about gun control. It's about left control. Correct. 100%. Here's the clip. I don't know what somebody's trying to say here, but recently, Charlie Kirk was listed. He was portrayed on South Park, which he loved. He loved that, by the way, and he commented on it that Cartman was basically right on the money. Let's listen to this.
Stick of people stealing my stick. If anyone around here is going to be a master debater, it's me. So let's go. Who wants to debate the master debater? Let's go. You right there.
That's the stupidest haircut I've ever seen.
You are wrong. Leviticus 3:17 says it shall be a perpetual statute for your generations throughout all your dwellings. So you can shut up, baby. You just hate America and you love abortions. Dick of people stealing my...
He loved it. They're obviously picking on him. I don't have the tweet available. I don't have the tweet available, but he responded to it, something up to the fact that he loved it. But Boris Johnson, very famous political voice. The murder of Charlie Kirk is a tragedy and a sign of the utter desperation and cowardice of those who cannot defeat him in an argument. Charlie Kirk has been killed for not espousing extremist views because he didn't. He has been killed for saying things that used to be simple common sense. He has been killed because he had the courage to stand up publicly for reasonable opinions held by millions and millions of ordinary people, both in the U.S. and Britain. The world has a shining new martyr to free speech, 100%. This is not something that is going to disappear. This is going to be an event that is going to mark history. I mean, Charlie belongs to history now. And people are going to talk about this for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years, they're going to talk about Charlie Kirk, the Trump election, the Democratic attacks on the right side of the aisle, the persecution of Donald Trump. This is all going to become to light. All going to become to light. And everybody who's a Democrat now is going to be ashamed to be one if they aren't already. The Republican National Committee is receiving millions of new registered Republican voters. A lot of that was Charlie Kirk. So Charlie Kirk had formed Turning Point USA, which is an organization that has it's a conservative organization that infiltrates schools and teaches college kids about conservative ideology and conservative theory and conservative political thought. A place that has historically been owned by the left and the Democrats because they owned the Department of Education. This is why you send your child to Harvard and they come out with their penis chopped off thinking that they're a chick, which is insane, absolutely insane. Charlie Kirk, at a very young age, I might add you, saw this problem and saw the opportunity to get conservative views in colleges. This is one of the main reasons that Donald Trump got elected, is because Charlie Kirk delivered the vote. He delivered the young vote, the Gen Z vote that mostly votes Democrat. He delivered that vote, and that's what got Donald Trump in office. It was Barron Trump who told Donald Trump that he needs to get on board with Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA. Here's Donald Trump, the great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he's no longer with us. Melania, and my sympathies go to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you. It's a shame that this is still happening. Like, these things are still happening. It's a shame that the left's political ideology is so far gone that they're still trying to kill us. Here's a picture of Charlie Kirk at the White House with Donald Trump. Here's Charlie Kirk's Twitter page. This is the last thing he posted 8 hours ago about Irina Zarutska. If we want things to change, it's 100% necessary to politicize the senseless murder of Irina Zarutska, because it was politics that allowed a savage monster with 14 priors to be free on the streets and kill her. It was the last thing he posted.
On August 22nd, Irina Zarutska was stabbed to death on the rail system in Charlotte, North Carolina, by a savage career criminal.
Her life story, I think, will be told both in the United States and Ukraine for years to come. What do you think the importance of this story is most fundamentally?
This was one of the coldest, most senseless murders I've ever seen. She had no interaction with this guy whatsoever. She was sitting minding her own business, and he just takes out a knife and just decides to stab her. I do say this with some form of just heaviness. I don't like politicizing situations like this, but it just necessitates it because there are so many dynamics at play here. Based on the information evidence we have, the attacker did say, "I got that white girl." The attacker racialized it in his own telling of this situation. And we all know this. Any honest observer of your program knows this, including Van Jones even knows this deep down, which is that, of course, if a random white person on a subway took out a knife and stabbed a black girl senselessly to death, there would be massive media coverage. There would be policy changes. There would be people having to apologize for this.
Correct.
We saw this in George Floyd, and yet, for whatever reason, this situation has not garnered even a fraction of that kind of outrage or backlash.
Little did he know he would be the next senseless national murder. I thought we talked about this the other night with Irina Zarutska. I thought that was a situation that was going to affect me for the rest of my life. More than most things, but I was wrong. The Charlie Kirk killing is different. Charlie Kirk is not a political figure that was running for president. Donald Trump, he shot in Butler, Pennsylvania. He survived. Had he died, it would have been tragic. It would have been horrible, but it would have been different than Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is just a citizen. He's not a political candidate. He's not running for office. He's not in a position to change policy. Yeah, he can influence voting through his words. That's all he does. So this is different. This is horrible. This is horrible, and I hope they find this person that did this, and they put him under the prison, and they broadcast it on live television. Hell, put it on pay-per-view. I'll pay for it. An example needs to be made of this person to stop the political violence that's rising in this country. The political persecutions that have been rising in this country need to stop. This country's always had problems. It's always had problems, but we've always been able to really work through them. Yeah, sure, there's been incidents, there's been riots, there's been a whole ton of things that have gone on. But this is getting to the point where we're on the brink of a freaking civil war here. And it's almost as if the Democrats have declared war on the Republicans. And don't do anything. Because there's going to be clips of me frigging everywhere. There's like 872 people on live. This clip between this and the podcast is going to have 10 million views by tomorrow. And they always clip it. And then they're like, oh, Ryan Samuel said this. Oh, he's a Nazi. He's that. Shut up. I don't care. I don't condone political violence. I think that the last act of political violence was conducted in 1776, and that's the way it should stay. When we seceded from Great Britain. Because our founding fathers built a system that allows us to change the system without political violence. The Declaration of Independence, clearly states this fact, that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And then the First Amendment, Second Amendment, the right to free speech, to get a microphone and influence through your voice without the government be able to persecute you, so that you can change it through your voice, through submitting facts, through exposing lies. Freedom of the press and the speech are similar. To stand on a street corner and say, I don't like the President of the United States. I don't like Congress. I don't like what this political party is doing. It's not a death sentence. It's not a death sentence. And it shouldn't be a death sentence. We don't want to live in that type of society. But the left has completely friggin' dropped the ball. They've completely lost the plot. They're out of their damn minds. They're actually sexually mutilating children. Governors, mayors are flocking to microphones to stand up for this. To say it's necessary care. It's necessary, necessary gender affirming care. Stop it. Stop it. There needs to be a major culture shift in this country, and there has been. It started with this election. This election of Donald Trump. And I've been doing this podcast since the day Joe Biden came out and did the vaccine mandate. I went out, I bought a microphone. That's when I started this. And I've been extraordinarily critical of Donald Trump. I was very critical about the flag burning. I was very critical about the tariffs, although I do see that they're working. I've been very critical about a lot of things with Donald Trump. But Donald Trump's victory was probably the single most memorable, most intense political election or political comeback in American history. And we saw a giant culture shift because the left had so much power for so long that they completely just lived in their own echo chamber. We saw it with the Kamala Harris, surrounding ourselves with people that were nuts, who couldn't run a campaign. But this type of violence, it's not necessary. We do not need that. Especially against just a political commentator, a news guy. That's what you got. It's senseless. But that's the left. That's the left. That's what they are at their core, just like Charlie Kirk said in that video. They will always result to violence. Always. I'm telling you, I get it in my comments every day. But this nation needs a lot of help. This nation needs a unifying factor, and maybe this is it. Maybe this was God's purpose for Charlie Kirk. A young guy, 31 years old, who achieved so much fame and so much publicity, and who was almost flawless with every argument that he made. Maybe God put him here for a reason and made him a martyr for all of us to pay attention. That evils are real in this world. That the devil exists, and that we're only here for a short time. So why don't we make it peaceful and appreciate it? Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. If you're on the podcast, make sure you hit that download. Visit ryanfsamuels.com. The blog is launched. I got a brand new article about Charlie Kirk on there. History of First Amendment, Second Amendment. God, please bless Charlie Kirk and Erica and his children. I hope you're holding him tight and that you provide them with a blanket of affection and love and provide our nation with peace. Thank you. Appreciate all of you. God bless you. God bless your children, and God bless America.